Hello guys, welcome to the Rockaway Center Mall here in Dover, New Jersey. Let's go inside and let's go check it out.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Rockaway Township, and welcome to the Rockaway Town Center Mall. Boy, was this mall really nice to see. So, this mall has been open for a long time, for almost 50 years. It's gonna be 50 years in a couple of years, and honestly, I mean, it is a really nice mall, and I have a few friends, I won't say their names because they asked me not to, who come to this mall frequently, and like, I mean, they are really lucky to have this as a local mall. I mean, I love my local mall too, but this is nice. And honestly, we'll be here for a long time because it's the Simon Mall, which, if you guys know anything about Simon, they don't own very many dead malls, if even any. So they know what they're doing, and with having anchors decent. I mean, you do have 2 empty anchors, but none of those are the mall's fault, and we'll get there in a second. But honestly, like, I don't see this place going anywhere for any time soon. I expect to be here another 50 years, which I'm hopefully right about. But anyway, so this mall opened up on Labor Day weekend of 1977, and it was built by the Cope, Shaken, White, and Brick Company, if I said that right. Now, it was built on top of a wetland, which was not protected in New Jersey until 1988. So if this mall was built after that date, well, I should say, anytime after that date, this mall would have never been built because of the wetland protection land. So, as this was a former Dover town landfill. And fast fact, when this mall was first opened, they put a time capsule in the mall, which was later opened on August 22nd of 2000. So that's kind of that is kind of cool, and I kind of wonder why they brought it up. They didn't. I couldn't find it, but I would love to know why. I mean, it would have been cool for it to still be there. Now, upon opening, the mall contained 5 large sculptures that were made by Rita Britt. Most were located on the first floor and reached up through openings to the second. A 20-foot long stainless steel and brass American flag hung from the ceiling, which I personally love. I mean, I love having the American flag inside of the mall. It kind of, it feels more important, and it kind of feels like the shopping mall is a big American pastime, even though sadly for a lot of communities it's not anymore. But I forgot to mention too, one of the silhouettes inside the mall, which was the yellow Shibit, if I said that right, 55, became the mall's original logo. Also, the other structures have been removed. Silhouette 55 still stands outside the mall on the corner of Rockaway Town Court and East Court of the mall. So that's kind of cool. They made that, it seemed like they made the mall logo, like, accidentally, and it stuck. Now, I will mention the original anchors of this mall were Sears, JCPenney, Bamberger's, and if I'm saying that right, Hylene's. If I said that right, I apologize. Now, 2 major stores, though, anchors, then they were converted, though, because as you guys know, and the Bamberger's became Macy's right around 1986, which is why it doesn't have the red star, because it was before the whole Macy's bankruptcy, but that's something for another video. But anyway, and the Hylene's, if I said that right, became a Lord & Taylor store in 1989. So things were looking strong as it got into the 1990s to have 4, at the time, legendary, thriving department stores. It really, definitely helps, but there'd be some changes later on, and we'll get there. Now, they also built a Commons in the parking lot, which started off as a Child World, but that later became a Kids R Us, so that's kind of cool. And that later became a Office Depot, so it kind of went through a lot of changes, and it's currently occupied by a DFW. There also was a Toys R Us in the parking lot, which is kind of cool. But that whole area where Toys R Us was later became a Nordstrom Rack. Now, AMC Theaters used to have a theaters in this mall, but sadly it did close. It didn't say when, but I did see it close, and it then became Forever 21, which, if you guys know about Forever 21, they were closing when I was here, and they're now completely gone as the whole company went belly up. If it wasn't for that, they would have stayed here. This mall is busy, and they would have definitely stayed here. Now, I will also say, too, in 2016, the Sears here that it did downsize. This is a third gross property owned Sears, which if you guys don't know what third gross property is, it's basically another division of Eddie, and he just calls it different names. I don't know if he does it to hide himself because of how bad of an owner he is, probably because he's horrible and doesn't care about these buildings. But anyway, so he split up the Sears, he downsized, and the rest of it became a Raymore and Flanagan. And then in 2020, it was announced Sears and would permanently shutter as part of ongoing decision to eliminate its stores. And it's still empty, just like I mentioned. And again, it's not the mall's fault because they don't own that building. And if it wasn't for that, it would be filled by now, I have no doubt. But, it's Eddie is in charge. Although at least Kevin and the Raymore and Flanagan and part of it does help. But also in 2020, as you guys know, the mall did temporarily close as part of the pandemic. And then as soon as it did reopen, or shortly thereafter, a second anchor announced it was pulling out as Lord & Taylor announced it would be closing down as part of a plan to close down all of their locations, and it closed in February of 2021. Now, that's another case where that's not the mall's fault. Hudson's Bay owns that building, and Hudson's Bay has been doing nothing with majority of these Lord & Taylors, and honestly, if I know Simon as well as I do, they probably want that building badly, and I'm very curious to see, what will happen with these Lord & Taylor buildings, including this mall, with the whole Hudson's Bay bankruptcy situation. Apparently, they're run separately, but that's a conversation at another point. This is a mall video, but we'll get to that if we need to later. But also in the year before, in 2019, they did do a small remodel, and it was just in the mall's food court. But all in all, this mall, as I said, is doing really, really well. It still has 2 traditional anchors, and I don't see either one of them going anywhere. Yes, I know Macy's is and it is currently downsizing, but I don't see it going anywhere. I would be surprised if it did. And nor would I be surprised if JCPenney left as well. And of course, they do have and the Raymore and Flanagan that doesn't use mall access, but if they can ever get their half a Sears filled, that would be nice. So the future of this mall, like I mentioned, it's very strong. It has plenty of your legendary, inline tennis as well as the 2 anchors, like I mentioned. It's a Simon-run mall, and Simon does not run malls into kill malls. It's rare to find a dying Simon mall. Yes, they do exist, but it's few and far between. So with that in mind, I think this mall is going to be here for a long time, and I really hope to come back here. And for the sake of people that I know, and I hope this mall is still there because these people shop there. But in a minute here, I am going to sign off and stop talking. It's going to be the rest of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy yourself and enjoy the rest of the video of the Rockaway TownSquare Mall. If you guys did, you know the drill. Just make sure to hit like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys for the next video. Stay tuned for what I got next. I have lots of content, including I just did a big trip out of the Cincinnati area. I can't wait and to start getting those videos up for you guys. And stay tuned for whatever I have next. This channel, and we never stop exploring. We go as far as we possibly can to give you guys, videos of malls and abandoned buildings and closing stores and whatever. So hope you guys stay tuned. As I said, just make sure to subscribe to the channel to exclusively see this new content. But anyway, I'm going to sign off here. I will talk to you guys later, and enjoy the rest of the video. Bye-bye, guys.